Welcome to the 43rd SCCA Runoffs. Last year, as D-Sports Racer takes the green at Mid-Ohio, pole sitter Mark Jaremko battles to the lead, but the war breaks out behind. Glenn Cooper spins and collects Bob Gardner. You don't think a D-Sports Racer can fly? Check out Jason Miller. Big incident there, but Mark Jaremko goes on to take the checkered flag, receives his third national championship medal. Certainly a feat worth celebrating, and Mark Jaremko does just that. One of the lightest, most nimble, and perhaps if you ask the drivers, one of the most fun sports racers to drive in the SCCA is the D-Sports Racer. Ask Dorian Foyle. After 10 years in a Spec Racer Ford, he made the move to D-Sports Racer and promptly won the Southeast Division. Now he has his sights set squarely on his first SCCA National Championship and his first trip to the runoffs. But you talk about fun, for the man next to him, Tom Shelton, it's all about fun. Tom and 4 family members, 4 other Sheltons compete in the Southeast Division, and when you talk to Dorian Foyle, he says it's not bad enough that there's enough competition. I got 5 Sheltons chasing me down. For more on the fun in D-Sports Racer, let's check in with Dorsey Schrader.
In the last 5 years, if you wanted to be competitive in D-Sports racing, it would require that you run a store chassis. Now, none better to exemplify that than the 2002, 2003, and 05 champion, Mark Jaremko. Mark is back, and he's going to try to win another championship. Now, Steve Shelton is a name that's been around racing a long time. Him and his brother Tom have run a lot of Formula Atlantic stuff. In fact, Steve is the 1988 Pro Champion. Them and their sons, 5 Sheltons involved in the race today. Tom Boots is solo 2 champion, multi-champion I should say, and that means he's an expert with car placement. He's an expert at getting the car through the corner on a line, and this is a new racetrack for everyone this week, so I think those benefits will play out.
Over 700 of North America's best amateur road racers have made the trek to Topeka for just one thing: a shot at the national championship in their class at the 43rd running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. The Runoffs, the soul of the Sports Car Club of America national competition. Up next, the engineering exercise that is D-Sports Racer. A total repaving effort, substantial improvements to the facilities have made Heartland Park in Topeka a great host to the SCCA Runoffs this year. Heartland Park becomes only the 5th track that has seen Runoffs competition in the 43-year history of the event. And the drivers and D-Sports Racers are looking to make history. Let's get straight to pit lane and Mike Johnson.
Well, sitting on the pole for this race is J.R. Osborne in this beautiful store WF1. You can see how low we are to the ground in this car. He's been racing shifter carts for the last few years. This is actually his 5th car race. First time at the runoffs and the pole position. We actually have 3 drivers in the top 6. It's their first time in the runoffs. Now over to my pit partner John Bizignano with the 4th place car.
Well, Davide Rigon, all the way from Milano, Italy, driving this beautiful Gloria. This is the guy who won the Formula 1000 championship in Italy. Gloria is a new manufacturer of both Formula cars and sports cars in Italy, and they want to sell this car in the USA. He came over to the Northeast Division, won a few races, qualified for the race, and he is here to put this car in the #1 position on the podium. He's come all the way from Italy, all the way to Topeka, Kansas. These guys have got to be serious about winning.
They are all serious about winning, John. They want to be the first national champion crowned at Heartland Park in the D-Sports Racer class. First time that anyone has run in the national championship runoffs here. Dorsey, take us around.
Brand new racetrack, brand new pavement everywhere, 2.5 miles, a new start-finish line, no longer on the drag strip. Turn 1, a great passing opportunity there, as well as in turn 6 and turn 8. It's slippery. It's been raining on and off all day.
And I say the engineering exercise that is D-Sports Racer, and I say that because these are sophisticated race cars, Dorsey.
They are indeed. They're purpose-built race cars just for racing. Open cockpit, closed wheels. Now, they mostly have a 1-liter or 1,000cc motorcycle engine, but today's technology, that means nearly 200 horsepower.
It's sophisticated aerodynamics and suspensions, and you've got to have some pretty good engineering expertise if you want to go fast in D-Sports Racer. That's exactly what these guys will be doing when we come back, and the drop of the green, we will get to the National Championship Runoffs in the D-Sports Racer class from Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas. Hello, corner workers. We'll be right back. The 43rd running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. D-Sports Racer up next. These little high-tech machines getting ready to go. It should be a good one. 5 former national champions registered to run here today. Mark Jaremko will start on the front row, is one of those. He's the defending national champion in the class, and certainly look for good things from him today. But I'm sure J.R. Osborne, who will start from the front, is going to have something to say about that. But a lot of guys in the field, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 division champions out there as well. So a lot of good race car drivers, a lot of good race cars.
These used to be more or less a home-built, backyard special kind of a race car, but no more. Not ever since Store came into the chassis building business and a few others, these are sophisticated race cars, and unfortunately, the cost of doing business has gone up dramatically as a result.
Osborne and Jaremko both in the Store WF1 chassis, so they will be strong. Got another former national championship, Bob Shader, in the 10th spot, has won a national championship in Sports 2000 back in 1985, so he is very, very strong indeed.
Of course, Steve Shelton right there is a pro former Atlantic champion that I talked about at the beginning of the show.
And Michael Rupert has won 2 national championships in D Sports Racer in 90 and 97. So a lot of talent there. Now for the third 10.
Look down there in 27th, number 9 car, R. James Boehm, a guy that got me started in racing some 32 years ago. This will be his last event.
And Mark Dalen and David Gomberg, both divisional champions. As you look through the rest of the field, talent throughout. Let's get down to pit road. John Bizignano, what have you got, bud?
Hey, Dorsey, you were talking earlier about how sophisticated this class has become. On that grid, every car in the top 6 had a full-time engineer working on the car. If you're off by just 1/10 of an inch on these cars, it throws the whole aerodynamics off. And even right now, especially when a lot of them have become tunnel cars. Now, most of these cars, they're running like a 1-liter motorcycle motor, so the class is getting more popular. Over to Mike.
Well, let's talk about this class. It was about to die a few years ago. It was a lot of home-built chassis, a lot of stuff that would fall apart a lot. The numbers started to drop. SCCA changed the rules to allow these tunnels. So now these cars are in, and it's kind of really raised the level of competition in the class. And if you don't understand what a tunnel is, when you see the cars in the back, there's a big scoop in there, and it just sucks the car right down to the ground. So ride height is so important. If you're too low to the ground, it'll suck down and actually stop the car. So you need to have just enough air to get it on, and that way it motors through the straights and has a lot of acceleration through the turns.
Well, if you want to think of it this way, a tunnel car, Champ Car is a tunnel car. It's got ground effects. That's basically what these cars have. Look at the moisture on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's moisture off the side of the racetrack. It was just sprinkling a little while ago. Also, you'll see lots of bits and rubber, lots of mud. There's over 730 cars competing here this weekend. Then it's winding down, Brian. This is one of the last races we're going to see.
We're 23 races in to the SCCA National Championship, so this racetrack has seen a lot of abuse over the last couple of days. There's a lot of debris out there. Corner workers doing a great job keeping it clean, but they can't clean the entire thing. And with the moisture, we've got some wet areas on the racetrack. Passing could be difficult to field. Lined up nice and tight. J.R. Osborne in that silver Store chassis on the left side, coming towards you. Jumps from the pole to the lead. Jaremko falls into second. The rest of the field streaming to turn 1.
Well, he got a great start over Jaremko in the front row there anyway.
The field not nearly as tight through the last couple of corners as we have seen in previous races. That allowed the field to stream out a little bit, and look at the jump they've got. You see the rest of the field back there. The leader streaming into turn 3, the rest of the field stretching out.
These cars are extremely light, and it takes a while for them to get tire temperature up, and it's a cold day. It's probably right on the borderline of 50 degrees by now.
And Osborne had some type of a problem because I believe the black Store of Jaremko has taken the lead. As you look a little further back, you see Jaremko go out of your shot, and then you see J.R. Osborne. So he led into turn 1, but he's leading no longer. Look at the battle back here. The orange number 13, Kevin Mitz, having a tussle of his own back there. I love these cars. They're like little prototypes.
Yeah, they're really small. And those 1,000cc motorcycle engines are twisted up 10, 12, 13,000 RPM.
You just saw the battle for fourth. David Rigon, as John Bizignano said earlier, having a good run. And there goes Jaremko looking back to the silver and black 83 of Osborne. He obviously had some type of problem as he came into 1 and 2. And Jaremko has been able to take not only over the lead, but extend it a little bit, Dorsey.
Mark Jaremko is a remarkable story. That very same car competed in C Sports Racing earlier. C Sports Racing is a bigger class, bigger engines, and this lightweight car was able to do well there too.
And Jaremko, very experienced, a 2-time or 3-time national champion, I should say, in class 2002, 2003, and 2005. And Jaremko has not been in a D Sports racer so far this year. Used his national championship to get a spot in the runoffs, and that's why he's here. But he hadn't turned a wheel in D Sports racer until he came here. Look at this battle. The 61. That is Steve Shelton. I thought I recognized the helmet. I raced Atlanta cars against Shelton, and a very, very tough competitor indeed.
Can you believe this? The Shelton, there's 5 of them in there. They've got 7 store chassis. They say they got babies on the way. There's going to be more Sheltons.
Kevin Mitz doing a great job and a little bit of an older technology Cheetah, really taking it to these guys in these more modern store chassis. You got to take your hat off to Mitz, doing a great job right now, hanging in there, but he's under attack by Shelton.
And the Cheetah, look at the front of that all the way across. It's an envelope body. That is not a tunnel car whatsoever. These cars that have the openings underneath, they suck themselves to the ground with a big vacuum.
And the Sheltons fighting with each other as well, as you saw Steve Shelton get by, and now working their way up through. I believe the white store that just went by was Tom Shelton. So these guys trying to move to the front.
To a nutshell, you talk to these drivers and they all agree that the car, the class, it's really fun to drive. They really corner well. These cornering speeds on these cars are as high as anything, including Formula Atlantic, Brian.
Well, and they will be because of the aerodynamics. Saw Tom Shelton in the white 62 flash by. Good battles back. And
trouble here. Yeah, one of the cars slow, going off and going into pit lane.
Rest of the field streaming on by. Mark Jaremko continues to lead over J.R. Osborne. Osborne was your pole sitter, but now some 7.5 seconds back. And that is your pole sitter. That is J.R. Osborne. Problems. He has come to pit road, and you do not win a national championship sitting on pit lane.
Unbelievable pole sitter. The guy that we thought would run away with this is on pit road.
We saw him leap off at the start to a big lead into turn 1, but then as they came out of turn 3, Mark Jaremko had the lead, and Osborne had dropped well back. So problems for your pole sitter. Mark Jaremko has pounced. He has the lead in the D Sports Racer National Championship Runoffs. We'll be back.
Jim Bames, 41 years of racing in SCCA, has enveloped going to every single venue where the national championship has taken place. 5 different tracks, Jimmy, you've gone to. You've seen a lot of changes.
Oh, a tremendous amount. I mean, when I first started, you towed with your own street car, a little open 2-wheel trailer, did all the work yourself. Now it's toter homes, tractor trailers. Everybody has an enclosed trailer. The only thing that really hasn't changed is the fact that the races are still the best, the most competitive, and it's anybody's guess who's going to be the next national champion.
All right, Dorsey, you said in the old days, flat trailers and stuff like that. When was it better? Was it better then?
In ways it was better then, no question about it. Jim Bain back in those days ran an old Mini Cooper and towed away in his station wagon, and he lived down the street from me and got me interested in racing as well as my father.
Well, Bain in a battle right now with a 96 right behind him. It may have been better, maybe a simpler time in some respects, but the racing was just as good. Steve Palmer trying to take the battle in the 96 car right behind him, the orange and green, and then you saw the yellow 31 right behind them, David Gomberg. So these 3 embroiled in a little battle of their own. That's further back in the pack, but they're having a great run.
Well, all those cars are from the same era. They're all the old school type cars. They're very competitive amongst one another. Of course, they can't touch these new ground effects cars, no way.
Well, that's part of the deal. I mean, the straight line speed probably isn't that far off, but the sophisticated aerodynamics is going to give them greater speed through the higher speed corners, better braking capability as well, and you got to think that the suspension on the newer cars, a little more modern engineering, more mechanical grip.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, Jim Bain still, I mean, his wife's here. One of my best buddies, Mike Manzotti, who works on the car for him, they still work out of the garage, you know, at night at home. They don't have an engineer like everybody else. And, you know, this is old school racing. That is Jim Bain. 41 years he's been doing this a long time.
It doesn't mean it's not fun. They're having a grand time. I know you had a good visit with them the other night.
Did indeed. They wore me out. I'm still not right.
So some of it's still the same. Right now, what is the same as Mark Jaremko out front? That's what we saw last year at Mid-Ohio. Let's head down to pit lane with Mike.
That's right, J.R. Osborne, 2005 Supercar champion. We're expecting a lot of great stuff from you today, but what happened back there?
I'm not quite sure yet. I think something let go in the motor, something caught on fire, and I lost some brakes and then looked down and didn't have any oil pressure, so it's kind of a sad way to finish off 10 days of being out here and going through the highs and lows of qualifying on the pole and trying to learn the car. And we felt competitive. I think I don't know, Mark Jaremko, he's the class of the field, but I think I could have been there for the end, but we all say that, so who knows, maybe next year we'll find out.
All right, well, a great first run for him, and hopefully we will see him next year. As so many competitors say, they come here 10 days, and to go out in the first lap is such a disappointment.
And how many times, Mike, you've been here too doing this runoffs many times. How many times does that happen? You unload 10 days ago, you unload, your car's perfect, you're running great, and as you get closer to the race, things just start to happen. It's unexplainable, but the runoffs are tough. I ran 13 of them, Brian. I never did win one.
And he has nothing to be ashamed of. He qualified on the pole. He won his division with 3 wins. So you cannot be ashamed of that. A good run here, but just problems that has put him out.
Now you see
JR Osborne, we will see you next year, I feel certain.
they're all looking to go. We got a full course caution out. Don't know about why. Saw one car parked out on the side of the circuit. It's probably to clean that up.
Have to get him out of the way. The 63
There it is, yeah.
with problems. One of the older cars, Barney Powers, out there. He began racing in 1964 in H Modified, which is a sports racing class back then. And obviously he has had his problems. They're going to have to bring out the pace truck and get the field lined up. And I'll tell you what, Mark Jaremko didn't want to see that. He had almost 12 seconds in hand after just 5 laps of competition in D Sports Racer. So that will bring the field back to Mark Jaremko.
Well, we really thought that this would happen. Jaremko and Osborne's cars are so much superior. They're so new. We thought they'd run away with this entire deal, but the race for second should be just spectacular. Now it tucks everybody back up again.
Well, several other stored WF1 chassis in the field, but I think what really gives them the speed is the experience. They have the engineering expertise, and obviously Jaremko has the experience in that type car. He's won the runoffs the last 3 years and won. We'll see if he can do it again when we come back. The D Sports Racer SCCA National Championship runoff taking place Heartland Park, Topeka, and the battle has been a good one in the early goings. Mark Jaremko, the defending champion in D Sports Racer, actually a 3-time champion in D Sports Racer, continuing to lead under full course caution right now for the first time on lap 5. A couple of stranded cars we need to pick up out on the racetrack, get that cleaned up, and we'll be back to some more great action. But interestingly enough, monitoring the corner worker net, heard a talk of a little spray out of the back of Jaremko's car, maybe some moisture on the racetrack that they've seen.
I was just purging the nitrous.
Tom Shelton having his problems. We talked about the Sheltons earlier today, so there's still 4 Shelton bullets in the gun, if you will. Tom Shelton is out of his stored chassis, but as I said, 4 other family members.
Oh my gosh, that's rude. Hey, how about not tearing my car up, please?
How about not pulling it back onto the racing line?
That is rude.
Oh, not a good call there.
Look at the mud all over the place. Oh boy.
And that is right in the second apex of the bus stop. You come into the bus stop, turn left, turn right, and they have pulled
look at the driver.
63 of Barney Powers right back across the racing line, and that is going to be a big mess.
And he's not happy. He's looking at the tow truck driver saying, what was that about? You trying to, ruin my car?
Jaremko hold on to the lead behind the pace car. Let's go down to pit lane. John.
Well, we're with Mark's wife, Jennifer, and Jennifer, you must not be looking forward to this restart. Things were pretty cushy there for you for a while.
They were, and to say that my nerves have gotten to me would be an understatement.
You keep doing this little twisting thing like this all the time.
Yes, I have a little bit of nervous energy, and we're just really hopeful, though. Mark got a great start, and we're really hopeful.
Well, he'll be able to keep that competition off the back of him. Jennifer's going to keep doing the twist down here, guys.
Hey, and John, you might want to remind her that this racetrack, all of the pavement is new, and Mr. Irwin's going to have to replace some more of it if she keeps pacing back and forth in the same spot.
Well, they finally got the good old 63 point in the right direction now, and the toe strap hooked where he might be able to go forward instead of sideways across the racetrack.
Now they're going to pull him forward. Yeah, but he can't be pleased with that either. Barney Powers had his problems. That was bad enough.
Left rear down, Brian, or is that just mud?
I think it's just mud. I think he spun and couldn't get it refired. But now they're going to need to take the time to clean all of that mud off the racetrack.
They're pulling him into where the tech shed area is right there.
Oh my!
That's just mud, and he's done. They're going to pull him in behind the wall here.
He'd be done anyway, just the amount of time it would take to get the mud off. The thing that I'm concerned about, though, the thing that I'm sure Mark Jaremko will be concerned about when they go through there the next time is the mud that he's going to see on the racetrack. Because even if they can sweep off some of it, a lot of it remains, and it fills in that aggregate in the asphalt. And
there you go. That's pretty nasty. Now, the other thing we're talking about at the beginning of the show is how low the car is to the ground. Mike Johnson, you could see it when he was kneeling down. The cars are tiny. When you get off the racing surface, you're stuck instantly because the chassis
all of a sudden the grass just lifts the chassis and the wheels aren't touching the ground anymore.
But when Mark Jaremko gets back over there, he will be the first car to see that mess as he comes through the bus stop. And I'm sure he's going to be thinking inside that helmet, what have they done over here and what are they going to be able to do to clean it up? They're coming out of turn 7 right now, that run up the hill into the bus stop, so they're about to discover the mess that has been made.
And I should say, from the corner workers' standpoint, it's not their fault because these races run continuously, one behind the other, some 6 races, 7 races a day. They can go out there and sweep with their brooms for a couple sweeps, but then here come the cars.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and as we said, they can't get all of it off the racetrack, Mike.
Yeah, down with Ted Spooner. He's the owner of West Cars and also here with John Bender. Now, Ted, we've seen a lot of engine failures already today, but also this weekend. What is it about this track you think that's maybe causing this?
It's a really tight track, and for the kind of G-loads that these cars produce, it produces huge forces on the motors, and so it causes oiling problems, and as a result, it causes engine failures.
Now, your driver's in second place right now. Do you think he's going to get a good jump on that restart? Is it pretty similar with that store chassis up front?
Yeah, I hope so. He's a very, very experienced driver, so we'll see what he can do.
All right, best of luck to you guys.
Well, the problem with the restart, there will be a lap car in between them. We saw the car there, the blue and black number 43. He will be between them, so Bender will have to get around him. I'm sure he'll do it relatively quickly, but Jaremko is very experienced. He's going to come out of that last corner going.
Yeah, get any advantage he can right there before they get to that start-finish.
Well, some cleanup to be done here at Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas. The 2006 SCCA National Championship Runoffs. D-Sports Racer to be contested after this. D-Sports Racers and the SCCA National Championship Runoffs from Heartland Park, Topeka. Pace car about to pull to pit road, and we will be back to green flag action. 7 laps in the book. Mark Jaremko sits up front after J.R. Osborne had his problems with his engine. The 43, the black and blue 43, is a lap car. John Bender in the 11 gets held up as we go back to green flag. Jaremko with a huge lead. The second black car is the 11 of Bender, and he really got held up there by the 43 of Jim Coons.
And we knew that would happen. We knew Mark Jaremko would come off the last corner using that lap car as a pick to get a big advantage.
And Jaremko had the experience. We talked about it before we went to break. He knew that the car behind him was a lap car, so he knew that when he got to the apex of the last corner, he was going to go. Kuhn, being a lap down, less experience, didn't have the speed off the corner, and Bender, there was nothing he could do about it. He can't pass until the green flag.
No, you can't blame the the lap car. You can't blame him. He's in an older car doing the best he can do. Wrong place, right time, that's all.
Absolutely, that's a world of hurt. 2.1 seconds at the line, but Jaremko got a leap, so it'll be even more than that when they come back around. So Mark Jaremko has set sail. That's not to say that there aren't problems that could crop up in front of him. He still has to go through the bus stop the first time.
And that's coming up, Ryan. That could be a big problem. He'll be the first to see what that mud is like.
And he avoids it, doesn't even get close to the apex. He uses the mud as an apex and runs wide of it, so they know that it's there.
Yeah, they had that lap behind the pace car to go by there and take a look and assess what the problem was. You just got to remember those things when you get back to them.
This is John Bender's first runoffs, but he certainly has plenty of experience.
I'm really impressed with the 13. The orange 13 is an older style car. And look, there it is right there, and doing a great job against these new chassis.
Yeah, Ken Mitz, we talked about him earlier, the 33. Joel Weinberger doing a good job as well, embroiled in a good battle here. And right there, the silver and black 81. We talked to him at the beginning of the show, Dorian Foyle. He's running well on the podium right now in third, but a long way to go. We just crossed halfway. Steve Shelton in the 61, moving forward as...
Oh, trouble here, Brian. A car blowing an engine in turn 2. The 33 right in the face of the 13.
We just talked about Weinberger doing a good job, but he too has lost an engine. Remember, you heard the engineer say, this Heartland Park Topeka racetrack has a lot of high G-load corners. These engines can starve for fuel, and with the RPM that they turn, if they don't have the oil down in there to keep things lubricated, they will eat themselves, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Yeah, this one's completely blown up, and of course the driver knows that he's trying to get himself into a position, safety. He's offline, he knows that, but it happened in turn 1. Watch this. You go down into turn 1, you'll be on the brakes hard, downshifting about 3 gears worth. Now it turns in the corner, gets on the throttle, bang, there she goes, piston or something.
Absolutely. Big bang. Now he needs to get off the racetrack. Please don't try to get it back around to pit lane because you'll oil the track. Now he pulls off on the track, and that's not good news either.
That's not good at all. Now he's taking the steering wheel off, so this is going to precipitate a full course caution. You can't just leave the car in the middle of the racetrack.
That's easy for you.
It might rain too.
Joel Weinberg has pulled to the side, obviously. Problems for his number 33 terminal, but for this man, Mark Jaremko continues to lead, 9 laps in the book, about to be 10, flashes across the line. We'll see what the gap is back to John Binder. Remember, Jaremko with that tremendous restart really got a great jump over Binder. Binder across the line, 7.5 seconds back.
Now this is where the engine blew. I wonder if there's any oil. I don't see any. It didn't look like the car.
Once again, Kevin Mitz, though, what a job that man is doing. 5th right now. He runs in a much older Cheetah chassis. He's doing a great job. Mitz running 5th.
Look right on the corner of his right front tire, though. One of his winglets he's added on there for downforce. He's made contact with another car, and it's sticking out. And I'm seeing tire smoke, Brian. That's not good.
That's not good. Mark White right behind him in the silver and red West chassis.
I think that little piece of aluminum there that gives downforce on high speed is laying back into the sidewall of the tire. See it there?
Yep, and that's going to begin to cut that, especially when he turns and that tire posts out from the wheel well. White with a look and gets through. Can't take anything away from Mitz, though. What a great job he is doing with a car that obviously from a technological standpoint is outclassed. A good battle behind them as well. The number 4. Bob Gardner, best runoffs finish, 2nd in Shelby Can-Am in 1994, working his way up, trying to go to the front, running 8th right now.
Look at that Kevin Mitz, man. I like that. He's not giving up, even though, you know, that's just the way it is. I can see this class going in the way that Formula Atlantic did at one time. They might have to go to an A class and a B class, a ground effects versus non.
Biz, what's going on in pit lane?
Well, Nicolas Amicia is the engineer for the beautiful Gloria that's running the number 22 car. Nicola, I have to ask you, so much work to put your first sports car together. You've built over 80 Formula cars, but this is the first sports car.
Yeah, that's the first sports car. We came here to qualify. We did 4 races in Pocono, VIR, and Lime Rock. Then we came here. We were quite happy to start in 4th position, but now a little bit disappointed we are on P7 because we are having some engine problems. So,
which is harder to design, a Formula car or with all the body, all the aerodynamics of a sports car?
Everything basically.
Everything is different. Yeah. Okay. Buona fortuna.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
La Gloria is a beautiful new chassis. It's got a nose on it, kind of like a Ferrari.
Yeah, it does got a Ferrari look.
Looks kind of like the nose of an Enzo, so a very beautiful car. Another great addition to the D Sports Racing stable. Right now, Mark Jaremko having things his way from Heartland Park in search of yet another gold medal from the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. D Sports Racer from the SCCA National Championship Runoffs at the drop of the green. Pole sitter J.R. Osborne got a great jump. Then we had problems. The number 63 car stalled on track. They had to pull him out of the way. Lots of mud. And that brought out the full course caution for the first time. Then problems other places in the pack. The 42, Bill Johnson.
Several engine failures. That looks like what happened right there. And we talked to an engineer who said it's the G-forces at Heartland Park that causes restart here. And look at the lead. Mark Jaremko jumps.
Gets a huge lead. Bender gets caught up behind the lap car of Jim Kuhns on that restart, and Mark Jaremko gets a huge jump.
And another engine. Let's go down in turn 1 and turn 2. That one in a big way.
That was Joel Weinberger. He is pulled off on one of the escape roads, so he is not in a dangerous position on the racetrack. So we continue under green flag action, and Mark Jaremko continues to lead. This would be a 4th gold medal in D Sports Racer if Jaremko can hold on, but we still have a long way to go. 6 more laps, and we've seen a lot of engine problems. We talked about these engines starving for oil, and hey, Jaremko's setting a pretty taut pace.
Yeah, it would take an engine failure or something because he's running 2 seconds a lap faster than anybody else in the field. But these guys, on the other hand, oh no, my God!
No, Mitch with a problem.
The 13, he was doing so good.
I wanted to see him up there. I'm rooting for the underdog. He's doing such a great job and having a great battle with the 0-2 of Mark White. Those two guys fighting over the 5th position. Mitz is lost out, slipped back to 6th. White to 5th.
See what happens here. Comes off the car. Just gets a little loose on the exit. That's not the problem, though. Trying to just locks up the
I'm wondering if he's starting to lose some tires, Dorsey, because I saw some rubber chucking off those tires as he came off of turn 5, so maybe his tire's going away.
And we've seen that aerodynamic winglet is definitely rubbing on the sidewall of the tire occasionally as well because it smokes it.
Mike?
Yeah, down here with John Bissell. He's a crew chief for Kevin Mitz. Your wheelman's doing an amazing job out there in that flat bottom car, but I guess he just had a little lock up and spin. Did he tell you anything on the radio?
We haven't heard back from him. He's still right there on guys, so Kevin's driving the Renworks Cheeto. He's got that George Dean power in there, and it's just kicking some butt down the straightaway, so he's doing a great job.
He's doing an amazing job. He actually qualified 7 seconds faster than any other flat bottom car and is hanging on with those tunnel machines.
The thing that's amazing is he's so fast in the braking zone. Downforce gives you great braking as well, but Mitz doing an awesome job.
Great job. And, you know, he might be faster in a straightaway, but he doesn't show it to me. I mean, he's running equal with these guys with the tunnels.
You know, it's great that Mark Jaremko having such a good run, but Mitch, you got to be impressed. He's just a little less than a second off Jaremko's time in, once again, a car that is significantly less technologically advanced. Good battles here as well. John Bender in the 11. That is your second place car with the 81 right behind him. Dorian Foyle. Remember Foyle, 10 years in Spec Racer Fords. This is his first year in this sophisticated D-Sports race where he won the Southeast Division.
And they're catching the tail end of the pack of the old flat bottom cars, and that can make a big difference. You see 31 moves out of the way. He's not in the same class or caliber car the other guys.
Good move by David Gomberg, in the yellow 31. Pulls to the side, lets the battle go, but more lap traffic here.
6 in front of them. This is a good race for the flat bottom boys that they're getting into the middle of here.
But they're doing a great job staying out of the way. Bender slips through, so does Foyle. Foyle slips through again. That's the black and blue 43 of James Coons that they get past. So really kind of no harm, no foul. These two slip through, really don't get held up at all. Foyle continues to chase the black number 11 of John Bender.
There's just no comparison between a full ground effect car and a flat bottom car. I mean, there's no driver in the world that can do anything about the fact that they're just not in the same class category. And they'll have to address that issue. I mean, either that or what happened is all the flat bottom cars will be obsoleted and they'll go away. And that's kind of what happened to Formula Atlantic when I was driving it.
Yeah, and you certainly don't want to see that these new cars, the West chassis, the storage chassis, they're great, but you want to see everybody continuing to compete. We had a great field, over 30 cars entered. Mark Jaremko continues to lead.
Every time we come to the runoffs, we always talk about what a family affair this event is. But the Shelton family has taken it one step further, bringing 5 family members to the DSR class. Here with Wes Shelton, it's his first time here at the runoffs. Tell us what it's like racing with your entire family.
I tell you, it's just fantastic and larger than life to be able to finally be here and race. Once we been running around the paddocks as 3 little kids, to be able to show up and be able to race is just larger than life.
Now the question I have for your cousin Tom is, Tom, 5 drivers plus crew plus moms, who's feeding everybody over here?
Well, I don't know. It's pretty amazing. All the moms and the wives and whatnot, they tend to go to the grocery store and stock the motorhome, and we end up finding ourselves at an Outback, oddly enough.
Well, the good news is there's 3 wives at home right now who are pregnant, so we could find ourselves in 16 years with 8 Sheltons in this race.
They got 2 more chassis. They got 2 more chassis, so they got room for more drivers.
We're going to have an entire runoffs class of Sheltons.
And if you want to buy a Ferrari, that's a good place to go get one. Shelton Ferrari out of Lauderdale, Florida.
As well. This is some great stuff, and once again, what the SCCA is all about. It's about family. I just didn't expect to see an entire class full of them, but that's what we've got right here, and these two having a good run right now.
Boy, if I've been my family, I've just met, all that would mean is a big wreck.
I was going to say, it would mean a lot of crash damage. See the number 16, Wes Shelton, running right now in 14th position. He's got the number 60 right in front of him, which is Steve Shelton Jr., and then right behind him, yep, that's right, another Shelton, the 26 of Tom Shelton Jr. So a little family affair doing battle out on the racetrack. Are you meaning to tell me you and your brother would have torn some stuff up?
Oh, we tore a few things up. Yeah. We tried to stay out of the same class at the same time as best deal.
Back to the battle for second. John Binder continues to hold on to it, but Dorian Foyle wants to move up. That beautiful silver and black number 81, Dorian Foyle trying to get up and do battle with Binder. He's just been hung back there about 3 car lengths back and doesn't seem to be able to close on him, Dorsey.
Now, and you can see the technology of these new cars, Brian. You can look at that. They're beautiful cars. He's got a good run right here, though. Take a look at this. Came off the corner better. He's in the draft.
And these cars will draft reasonably well, so he tucks up underneath him. But I think Binder's got the straightaway speed because Foyle had a great run onto the front straightaway.
Yeah, he did. That much better run. Little brake lock up.
Push him into a mistake.
That's what you got to do. Put the pressure on. You're going to have 2 laps to go.
Great D Sports Racer battle right now. Mark Jaremko is checked out a little bit, but the fastest lap has been turned by John Binder so far over the last few laps.
And these cars in front could play into this.
Here we go. Who's going to work traffic right? Both of them around the high side. They'll get through cleanly.
But there's another
lap car in front.
Yeah, they're going to catch some more lap traffic. And these guys right now driving 10 tenths.
10 tenths.
Maybe 11 in case.
And another good battle back here a little further back. That's the 36. The battle for 9th right now.
That's down in turn 1. They're side by side into 2.
Oh, and
pass is made.
Tom Boots in that white and black D Sports Racer, the Speeds car, loses the position to the number 18 of Harvey Goldman. We'd seen Goldman earlier. Goldman running very well in his first runoffs in that store chassis. So Goldman trying to move to the front. He will pick up the position and be 9th. So a good top 10 run for Goldman in his first SCCA National Championship runoffs.
And more of the flat bottom cars in front of this pair as well. Mike Sullivan, he had a bad shot off that corner.
So they too will have to work some lap traffic, and that is, you were right, Dorsey, it's almost 2 different classes out here right now. The tunnel cars and the newer technology, and then the flat bottom cars, and they're having to work their way through. Binder, meanwhile, beginning to pull out a little bit, about 1.5 seconds at the line that last time by over Dorian Foyle.
1 lap to go, Brian. They're going to have to make something happen here. 2.5 mile track, and they're about 1/4 of the way through.
Foyle hoping for some traffic because he has gotten dropped back via traffic or because of a mistake of his own, but he has slipped back from John Binder. Binder doing a great job. He is the highest running West chassis right now. Jaremko leads in the store chassis, and these cars look a lot alike. You see Jaremko right now coming through lap traffic. His wife still wearing out Ray Irwin's brand new asphalt down there in pit lane.
She's had a very successful weekend, as her husband has as well. No reason to believe he won't win this national championship. It would take something catastrophic for it not to happen.
1/2 lap to go for Mark Jaremko. But look, right behind him, John Binder. No, don't throw it away, John. Don't throw it away.
That's
it's going to be hard to catch Jaremko, and he tries to get past the left car and almost makes contact. Just 3.5 seconds back, but Binder trying to throw it all on the line. Was he trying to catch Jaremko, or was he trying to keep Foyle behind him?
He was trying to keep Foyle behind him is what he's trying to do, and then get by the flat bottom car before the corner, which just did not happen.
Foyle beginning to close on Binder, but he's run out of time.
Whoa.
1 more corner. They'll come onto the front straightaway, but in front of them, Mark Jaremko looking for his 4th D Sports Racer National Championship. Hands in the air. He takes it, and the celebrations can begin. Binder claims 2nd, Foyle 3rd. Great run for those 2 drivers. And for Mark Jaremko, congratulations. 4 national championships.
And he has run that car not only in this race, but as C Sports Racer with no changes.
Mark Jaremko batting 1,000, 1 for 1, and the most important race of the year. Biz.
You're showing 4 fingers in the air there, Jennifer. Congratulations.
Thank you. The congratulations definitely goes to Mark and these 2 men behind me.
And now you're so composed. A moment ago you were jumping off the wall, hollering and screaming.
I don't feel composed inside. I'm elated. Mark is just a gifted driver and a wonderful guy.
Well, let's go greet him.
I'm so proud of it.
Well, store chassis have won the last 5 D Sports Racer National Championships. West gave him a run today in the hands of John Binder, but just not enough. He had the lap times. I just think he ran out of time. D Sports Racer, it was a good one. High-tech machines doing some great battle around Heartland Park, Topeka. The SCCA National Championships, D Sports Racer, it's been decided. Mark Jaremko, we'll talk to him in just a moment when we get back to celebrations. The 2006 SCCA National Championship Runoffs D Sports Racer has been decided. Mark Jaremko, 4 times now a national champion. Great job by John Bender and Dorian Foyle as well. John Bizignano, the party has begun.
Well, they're going to party all night long. Let me tell you, Mark, you almost made that look easy for a very competitive class.
It was a very, very competitive DSR class this year. In fact, the most competitive I've ever seen in the 4 or 5 years I've been competing in DSR. So I have to take my hat off to Lee Storr and Wayne Phelps for giving me the fastest DSR with the Storr WF1. It's
well,
it made my job easier.
Well, the experience showed up on that restart. How did you put that slower car between you and the entire field?
Years of practice.
So you knew what was going on in your mirrors, or you knew what was going to happen in your mirrors there?
I had an idea, John. I saw the slower car in between me and second place, and thought I'd take advantage of it.
Well, I'll tell you, you have the happiest crew in the pit lane right now. I think you should go celebrate with them. Congratulations on a 4th championship.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Jaremko with his championship. Great second place battle between Bender and Foyle. Steve Shelton finishes where he did last year. But right there, Dorsey, the driver of the race.
That's my man. Kevin Mintz with that flat bottom car, man. He drove the absolute wheels off that. Didn't belong that far up, but he did it all with talent.
Give Kevin Mintz a trophy. Great job looking back through the rest of the field. More Sheltons back there. Steve Jr. in 13th. Then Wes in 15th, a great day for the Shelton family.
Jimmy Boehm ends up his career with a 21st finish in a flat bottom car. Going to be missing him.
Congratulations, Jimmy. We will miss you. Look at the last page of results. That's the way the finish was here from the 2006 SCCA National Championships. Jaremko takes that cherished victory lap. We'll be back to some more celebrations when we come back to Heartland Park. ...2006 D Sports Racer National Champion, Mark Jaremko. 4 times he has taken this coveted victory laps. 4 times he has carried that checkered flag, and I'm sure it just gets sweeter and sweeter every time he does. He's not slowing down. It's hard to hold that flag at that speed, Dorsey.
Yeah, it'll rip your arm off. You don't believe how much wind resistance is on one of those flags.
Last year we saw big donuts from him. I don't know if we'll see him again this year or not. We will find out. Mike.
Down here with John Bender carrying the flag for the West team. A great second place run today, but not enough to catch the leader.
Yeah, thank you. Our car was handling great all last week, and we had engine troubles this week during qualifying, so that plagued us from working on the car's handling. But the car had a massive understeer, but I struggled to make it through the race.
Well, you did a great job, and take a look at the steering wheel, guys. It's got paddle shifters on this thing. We talk about technology, you know, Formula One stuff right here. Let's go back to Biz.
Dorian Foyle, a great run into 3rd place. It looked like he had you on the straightaways, man, but you were getting him in the corners.
Yeah, he has a good motor, real good motor there at the West car, and but the Foyle West and the Storr WF1 had a lot of downforce in the carousel there. We really came on them real strong, and I think a couple more laps we would have had them there.
In the beginning part of the race, the track had to be still very slippery, though. There's a little bit of rain right there on the grid. That had to make you crazy.
Yeah, we've got also cool weather, so the tires had come up to temperature. And sure, we had rain on off, and we didn't know where to go, rain tires or dry tires. Fortunately, we picked the dries, and that was the way to go today.
Congratulations, Mike.
Well, back here with Steve Shelton, 4th place, carrying the flag for the Shelton family. Good run today.
Thank you. I had a little bit of a bad start there, and it was a little tough catching up after that. But, you know, 4th is not too bad.
Now, so we want to know what Christmas is like at your house. Everybody get a new car, new D Sports Racer, or just what do you guys do?
No, well, not this year. There'll be no more D Sports Racers under the tree. We got enough.
Yeah, well, we were talking about some pregnant wives at home, and maybe those new children get into those D Sports Racers. Well, the rest of them, 13th, 14th, 15th, so a very good day today for you guys.
Well, you see the sticker on that car, paid professional driver? Mine says driver carries no money.
Steve Shelton, always a joy to race with him. A very soft-spoken guy, but a very fast driver as well. Technology, it's taken over in D Sports Racer, Dorsey.
Yeah, it has. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but you can't stop times from changing, and D Sports Racing is now a ground effects class.
Sophisticated equipment. We called it an engineering exercise, but it was still a great battle. Congratulations to Mark Jaremko on his 4th D Sports Racer National Championship. He put in a heck of a drive today, as did that man, Kevin Mintz. and everybody in D Sports Racer, congratulations to you guys for making it to the SCCA National Championships. For Mike Johnson, John Bizignano, Dorsey Schrader, I'm Brian Till. We'll see you the next time right here on Speed. So long, everybody.